What's up, First Youth? Hey, this is episode 3 of our journey, and this morning we are with a face that many of you know. It's prettier than most faces. Good news for the ladies that are watching. And this is Tucker Woods. Tucker, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, so Tucker, we're going to talk about a couple of different things, but if you don't mind, just introduce yourself, where you're from, how you ended up on a random recording deal with Youth Pastor First Baptist Leesburg. If you
Yeah.
don't mind.
Yeah. Hey guys. So like David said, I'm Tucker. I went to high school at the Villages. Now I'm up at UF, finance major and all that fun stuff. Yeah, so I played football at the Villages and all that stuff. And then we'll kind of get to where this football story is taking us a little bit later on. But yeah, that's the basics of it. I'm in my first year up at college, up at UF, all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, I think I'm really Scott. You're the youngest of 3 boys, is that right?
Yeah. So a lot of you might know my oldest brother, Nico. He kind of does the music and stuff. And then I have another brother older than me, but younger than Nico. His name's Colton. He also goes to UF as well.
Awesome. Now, what's that like growing up with 2 big brothers? Because those are big boys. Those are not a.
Oh yeah. No, it's pretty cool. There's always wrestling matches and everything going on. It's basically what you would expect.
Who wins those wrestling matches now that you guys are old?
Oh, I always win. Not gonna lie. No, Nico sometimes gets them in there, and then Colton will shock us all, and sometimes get a couple wins in there.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, you mentioned already. So most people that know you're a football guy. Most people do. When you walk in a room, you're pretty buff, and would guess that you played something like football or something along those lines. So kind of walk us through high school football. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so it was actually pretty crazy. So before high school, I had played baseball my whole entire life. And then so freshman year of high school, I was like, all right, I'm going to play baseball. It's all good to go. Played baseball fall of freshman year and just did not like it anymore. I was like, all right, cool, I'm done. And
boring, or is that?
It was a little bit of the coach wasn't the greatest, but like as I went and played football, him and I became like really close. So see how that all works out.
Yeah.
But so baseball, fall, didn't like it. And then my mom wouldn't let us play football until we got into high school because she was always scared of us getting hurt and stuff. So it came to springtime and I was like, all right, cool, I'll try football because I haven't tried that before. So we did that, and then I just fell in love with it ever since. My first time playing football, I was on varsity as a sophomore, one of 3. And then we just kept on going, and we kept getting better. Junior year, starting center and linebacker. And then we missed the playoffs because they had this whole point system thing going on. We missed the playoffs by like 1/10 of a point. So that was like the worst. And then we came back senior year. I was the captain with 3 other guys. And then we went undefeated in the regular season, 10-0. And then we went to the regional finals and we lost by a 2-point conversion with like a minute and a half left in the game. So yeah, so senior year made All-State, was on a trophy. I was a semifinalist for one of the trophies for the best player, and I forget what the area was. I think it was like Central Florida, something like that. I think I was one of 8 that was a semifinalist for the trophy. Okay. Did all that stuff. All-Star games. I think I got 2 of them that I was in. And then all of that, I had a couple of small offers NAIA. So it goes D1, D2, D3, and then there's NAIA, which is basically just a different. They're not considered really NCAA. It's their own little thing, but it's a lot of like these private little schools and stuff. So I had a couple of offers from NAIA, a couple of D3 offers, and then just some interest from like some D2 schools. But nothing really concrete after that. Okay. And that was pretty much all like the high school football stage was and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so I kind of know your story. I know you ended up walking on at Florida, but just kind of walk those that are listening so you had some NAI offers, but kind of walk us through how you ended up not taking those. Kind of what was your motivation to kind of walk away from those and then maybe pursue the Florida option?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for me was NAIA. It was so expensive because they're all private schools. None of them are public. And
Yeah.
And I had the grades to get Bright Futures, which Bright Futures covers 100% of tuition at public universities,
Okay.
and it's not that at private. So we would still have to pay more to go private,
Okay.
and it just wasn't really worth like that much to me because we didn't really have like a ton of money and stuff. So it just made the most sense to go to UF. And plus, like I wanted to go to UF, and I mean, like it's been my dream to like go to UF one, but play football for UF. That's been my dream since I was like 8 years old or something like that.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'll go to UF because that's where I've wanted to go ever since like I started thinking about school and stuff. So that's where I wanted to go. And that's why I kind of just like passed up the NAIA offers and stuff like that. Because like while they were all like pretty good schools and stuff, and it just wasn't worth it to me to give up like that part of my dream to go to UF.
Yeah. Okay. And so the dreams to go to UF, potentially play for UF,
Yeah.
but there's not many people get the opportunity to do that. So you decide to try out. How does that work?
Yeah.
What were the chances? Like, when you're going into this tryout process, is it like 1 in a million, 1 in 100? Is this
Yeah.
likely, or is this like, hey man, I'm going to try it, but it's not super likely to happen?
Yeah, so it all started after my senior year season ended. One of the coaches of player development up at UF,
Mhm.
he ran a training facility down in Wildwood area. So I went and I worked out with him a few times before. So he texted me one day and was like, "Hey, just like checking in on you and how you doing." And I was like, "All right, I'm good. Like, hey, I'm going to UF by the way. Like, you guys have like any like walk-on tryouts or anything like that?" And he told me he's like probably not, but like I'll keep you updated if we do. And so the summer before I went up there, I think it was like a month or something like that before,
Okay.
I'm driving with my dad to go down to Orlando, because he told me he's like just stay in shape and like whatever, so that if an opportunity comes up, like you'll be ready to go. So I was going down to a D1 training facility down in Orlando to like see like what their price was and like sign up with them. And on the drive down there, he calls me and is like, "Hey, like, how are you?" And I'm like, "I'm good." He's like, "Are you still in shape and stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like I've been working out and stuff." And he's like, "All right, well, if you can come up here on Monday and get some paperwork started, like we want you to like come to like fall camp with us and stuff like that. But like being a walk on, you still have to go through a tryout considered." So I got that call from him, and that was that was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, just getting
Yeah.
that call like as I'm going to like find a trainer to keep me like in shape for this. He calls me and is like, "Hey, like we want you." So I got that call, and then so I went up, got the paperwork started, and then I think the first week of school, he's like, "Hey, like we're gonna have you run through this tryout and stuff." And I think there were maybe 10 or 15 other guys at the tryout with us or something like that. And it wasn't like a super long tryout. It took all of 30 minutes maybe. So we did a warm up, and then we went through, since everybody was basically a skill position. So skill position is your quarterback, receivers, and then like your running backs, and then your DBs, safeties, and all that. Basically everybody but like the linemen. So since everybody was that, they just had us all run through some DB drills, make sure that we can move, we're good on our feet and stuff like that. And then so we went through that tryout. That was the week after the Miami game, the game down in Orlando. So we went through that, and then I think a few days later, I get a text from the coach, and he's like, "Hey, like congrats, like you made the team, like we got practice today at 3." And I was like, "All right, sweet, like that's awesome."
Yeah.
So we made that, and then yeah, went to practices for a little bit, and I mean it was crazy. I mean like getting that text and being like, "I'm
Yeah.
a Gator," like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So you go to fall practice and all that kind of stuff. So kind of walks through that. So what's that like? I mean, you no longer you kind of hang out the walk-ons. I mean, you're on the field with guys we're seeing
Yeah.
on Saturdays and possibly on Sundays.
Oh yeah. No, it's crazy. So it's an all day event. So though we had meetings at 7:30 in the morning. We had yes, we had position meetings and we had team meetings. Then we'd go off and go to class and stuff. And then we'd come back at 3 for workouts, which had broke up into freshmen and sophomores and then juniors and seniors. So we would have the workout first, and then after that, we'd get lunch while the juniors and seniors worked out, and then we'd have more position meetings and then team meetings, and then we'd go out and go to practice. And practice usually lasted around 2.5, 3 hours, stuff like that. Um, and the energy was just intense the entire time. Like you couldn't like stand still at all. So they're always moving. They're always like getting you up and getting you moving and stuff. So that part of it was pretty awesome and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. And so now, obviously now you're not, you're no longer part of the team. Can you kind of walk us through how that happened, and just kind of how your walk with Christ plays into a huge role, obviously, into that? Um,
Yes. So whenever I first got the text, be like, "Hey, like we got practice today at 3. Like we'll see you there." We went in and got our like gear and stuff, and went into the locker room. And like I think I got there a little bit early, so we had like around an hour and a half to like 2 hours to just chill in the locker room. So I got to my locker, got all my stuff set up, got ready for practice. Then we were just sitting there, and just like as soon as I walked into the locker room, just like seeing the environment and like hearing everything that was going on and stuff, it just kind of like threw me off a little bit. I was like, okay, I mean, like I understand like you're obviously playing football and stuff, like for a D1 school, like you're gonna have like some of that typical locker room talk,
yeah.
but this was like a little bit extreme to me to a certain extent, and it was just like, okay, this is kind of like cool. So like maybe like within the next like week or so, like it'll like start to get better, and like it only progressively got worse. And so like the biggest thing for me was, I mean, like somebody who might have been like super strong in their faith, like for instance, like a Tim Tebow who went through that phase and was a strong and devout Christian the entire time. Like he might have been able to handle it, but I was just going through like a dark time where I just recently like found Christ again. Just coming out of that dark time, and like I knew I was like, I don't need to like put myself in a position where I'm literally setting myself up to fail. Like that's not like where I want to be. That's not where God wants me to be. And that's not at all like what I should be doing. So I stuck it out for a little bit. And then, so I was like, okay, maybe I'll just like tune out, put my headphones in, and we'll just chill, and like, we'll just see what we can do. Just get through this. And, everybody was like, oh, try and find like guys on the team that like you can just connect with and do all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, that's really hard to like find out, with everybody acting the way that they were. And so just for me, it was like, I don't know if I can continue to keep my walk with Christ and play football. So that was a lot of prayer and a lot of decision making that I had to do. And it was insane. This was probably one of the hardest decisions I've had to make, because it being my dream since I was 8 years old and falling in love with the game of football. Um, and just playing it for so long and stuff, and then just to have your dream, have what you want, and then just have to see that it's really not what you want. And so I feel like part of the reason is that sometimes like God will give you like what you want and what you're asking for, just to show you that it's not what you need, and it's not like his plan for you. So like I feel like, genuinely feel like he gave me the opportunity to play football at UF because that's just like what I've wanted for so long. He gave it to me just so that I can see that that's not what this life is about. It's not about being a Gator and playing football for UF. It's all about glorifying him. And I think it was just a real test of my faith to see, am I willing to give up my walk with Christ and give up how I should be, walking with him and living my life to exemplify Christ, because that's what we're supposed to do, is supposed to live like Christ. If I'm willing to give that up to play football at UF, because that's been my dream since I was 8 years old.
Wow. So I mean, really for you, I mean, I know you said it, but just to kind of reiterate, just really came down to, can I follow Christ or can I have my dream?
Yeah.
And for you, obviously, we're talking about this because, on our youth group podcast, because, obviously you chose Christ in the midst of that, turmoil and inner turmoil, if you can call it that. And now you're on the flip side of that.
Yeah.
You decide to walk away. And I'm imagining me as an 18-year-old, and then I'd be like, dude, what were you thinking, right? Like, I was a basketball guy, and like, playing college basketball was from like, like you're talking about 8, 10 years old was my dream. It's all I thought about, all I cared about. And I'm just thinking in my mind, if I had that opportunity to do something like this, I think at 18, I would struggle to have that maturity, but also I think I would struggle to see what you're talking about, where it's that I don't need it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so being on the other side of that, what would you encourage students who are currently pursuing dreams similar to the one you had, or maybe even, maybe it's to get a high score on ACT score, maybe it's to get to a certain job or get to a certain school. How would you encourage them maybe that maybe you don't need that dream as much as you think you do?
Yeah. So for me, it's not to discourage people from going after their dreams and stuff.
Yeah.
It's more for me to kind of like make sure that like you're grounded in your faith to know that your dream isn't everything in life. God and living for him is everything in life. And if you have your dream and he allows you to do all this stuff like to glorify him, then that's perfectly fine. Like if that's the door that God opens for you is to get your dream, then that's it. But if God isn't being glorified through it, then you need to like kind of pause and think, is this actually like what he wants me to be doing right now? Is this like what he wants me to do?
Yeah. Yeah. That's powerful. Yeah. And so now that, you're no longer a team, man, is life stopped? Is life, is life lost taste? Is life meaningless now? Or
No, I mean not at all. It's great to see whenever that door closes, a bunch of other doors opened up right away. So and like I'm not gonna sit here and be fake and say like, oh, as soon as I walked away, like it was easy decision, everything was all peachy keen. No, I went through a few weeks, if not months, of like super hard time, just like thinking, did I make the right decision? Like, why did I do that? What did I do? And every single time, whenever I would turn to my Bible, every single time, without fail, it would always be a passage about that, about how powerful God is and how He never like does anything wrong and how He always like does miracles and stuff like that throughout like Jesus's entire life. And you see that, and it was crazy to me for like every time I would just be like sitting in my dorm and I'd be like just like down, be like, man, like I really like gave that up and stuff. And then like I would just turn to my Bible and it would just be like God knew. He's like, yeah, that's what you need to be reading right now. So yeah, it wasn't hard, but coming on the flip side of it now, you get to see everything in life. It's like, okay, like that was just a small part of it, even though it feels like this great big thing. And it is like D1 football is no joke,
yeah,
but that's not everything to life because God is so much bigger than D1 football. God is so much bigger than an ACT test score that you do or don't get. He's so much bigger than everything in life. And like once you can pause and like take yourself back and just be able to see all of that, that just gives you a brand new perspective that I didn't even know was possible. So just seeing that, like you hear it all the time. Everybody's like, oh, you don't need that. Oh, you don't need that. Like you just got to like live for God because he's everything in life. And you kind of almost like get numb to it. Like a lot of stuff today we get numb to. But I feel like God kind of like smacked me in the face and was like, okay, you need to see what these people are talking about. So I had this. And then as soon as I was able to take a step back and realize that's not all there is to life, then it just gave me a brand new perspective. And it's just amazing just being able to see like throughout daily life how like God can work through everybody no matter what the circumstance is, whether it's like you said, somebody's studying hard for an ACT score and then they get it back and they're disappointed and they think it's the end of the world because they can't get into the college that they want to get to. Well, that's God saying like, okay, even though that's college you wanted to go, maybe that's not where I had for you to go. And it's just all that stuff that we get so wrapped up in our mind thinking like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. And then if you just stop and just take a second to be like, okay, God, what do you want me to do? Like, how can you use me?
man, that's good stuff. Hey Tucker, thank you so much for your time, man. Man,
Yeah,
you've blessed me. If no one else has been blessed from this, man, you've blessed me. And I'm honest, I'm just excited to see where God takes you next. Just excited
yeah,
to see what God does in your life and see how you continue to grow. And because this is not the end, this is you're not going
yeah.
to be a football guy forever. And and you kind of get to walk on the next stage. So I'm just pumped for you. And man, seriously, thank you for blessing us. And
Yeah.
First Youth. Until next time, thank you for joining us.
See ya.